Go.
What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by three guys from all over the world. We have Phil and Will from OpenText. We have Matt Buttrey down under. He is in, I believe, Melbourne or somewhere in Australia. How's everyone doing today or tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, with the time change, you never know. But I'm doing great here in Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. Awesome. Will, how are you? Where are you today?
Loving life. We have spring in Western New York finally.
Oh, you're in Western New York too. We do have spring in Western New York. You can see the light here. I've got nice sunny day and also in Western New York, Rochester. And Matt, are you in Melbourne?
I am, yeah. So we're just kicking into autumn. So it's a nice mild autumn morning, next morning from you. So I'm coming to you from
it is.
Somewhat of the future, right?
We are coming from the future. This is always a pleasure when we have these kinds of calls. I don't like to think about it too much. It hurts my brain, but I thought this was a great opportunity to bring two great companies, two good clients of mine together to talk about how you guys are actually starting to work together. It's not often we have, two brands on an interview on a What's Happening show at the same time. What is it that, are you doing together? Why is it something that we want to talk about? Phil, why don't you take the lead on that one?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting because, for so many years, our two companies, we've had sort of parallel paths with the same end users on opportunities. We both service the MFP community together. And it's interesting because PaperCut and XM Fax and Write Fax and, all of the OpenText fax solutions are often, coupled together. We're on the same implementations. And it's almost like we high-five one another on installs or fleet upgrades.
Just to stop real quick, back it up a little bit. Let's, I should have asked already, but, give us a little bit more background on OpenText and some of that fax software, the security that you mentioned. And then we'll lead into, continue where you were going.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a variety of information management software tools that are available to the market. I focus primarily on information exchange that's related to fax over IP products, both in the cloud as well as off cloud solutions and secure file transfer solutions. So that's what we focus on, and we're dedicated to the MFP community, the team that I support.
Yeah, and so you see these guys in the accounts all the time, and so a little collaboration took place. Matt, a little background on PaperCut. Most of the viewers are going to know you, but for the few that don't, who is PaperCut? And then tell me your side of the story. How did it come about, and your thoughts on working together with OpenText?
So we're a print management company. As you're probably aware, we've been around for 20 years. We're based in Melbourne, Australia. We have offices all around the world, and we provide, the ability for people to control and track and manage printing. And really these days it's around print enablement. So again, just like Phil said, we keep seeing and hearing about this potential for interoperability between print management and a fax user interface. And it probably took us way too long to actually get together and start forming a plan to take one solution to market.
So when you say integrate, Phil, what does that mean? What is integration? How does that work between the two companies, the products?
Yeah, Will, why don't you take that one a little bit? I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I can jump in on that. And then there's some layers here that we can explore. But one of my favorite lines is every good security policy begins with identification of the user. And that's one of the things that PaperCut helps with. They can help us authenticate and authorize users. And once we know who that user is from our application perspective, we pick up that flow through. We can present to them a customized and personalized experience. And when they send something from the MFP, it's as if they're logged into our application. So when they go to the web client, for example, we're going to see those pages and present those pages in their web client so they can see, track, and manage what's going on. We can also flow all of that through to the audit log. So there's really good integration there. There's some other things we'll explore a little bit later, but everybody is becoming more and more security conscious. So now we take the chocolate and the peanut butter and put those together. It's really nice.
So the there's a reason that we're becoming more security focused. There's a few reasons. One is we have to, but some of them we're being pushed by mandates, right? And so there's some federal mandates. 19 you guys wrote this down for me, so I know it. I never keep up with it, but 19-17A1. In our world, in this office technology world, especially around fax, this is a big deal. Yes.
And I think so. You go, Phil. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Matt, why don't you take that one? Tell us about PaperCut and what you see with that mandate.
Great story about that I like to tell is when we speak to customers about security, they don't ask us for features, right? They don't say, we want secure print release, or we want authentication of the device, or we want authentication passing through single sign-on with write fax or XM fax. They say to us, can you keep us out of the news? They're the actual words that we hear from customers. Compliance, especially in the healthcare world, but not just healthcare, government and legal, compliance is paramount, especially in that North American market. So we saw that as an opportunity for interoperability. We were getting many of our resellers coming to us and talking about this integration and this interoperability. And we had forms of it, low-level forms of integration, but it really wasn't until we started working with the OpenText team, like Phil and Will, looking at what we could do, to put together one solution. Yeah, so we saw this as an opportunity to, move forward with what we consider is the industry-leading solution in OpenText to put together a really tight integration.
Very cool. And then a little help from the government never hurts. Phil, you want to fill us in a little more on that mandate as well?
Well, that's something that's real exciting and sort of top of mind today. So for those that are, like to read FCC regulations and orders, you can do a Google search, and it's the FCC order 19-72A1. And I get the numbers switched sometime, but it's FCC order 19-72A1. And just to save those folks that like the short story, basically on August 2nd, 2019, the FCC officially granted telecommunication carriers permission to abandon outdated, degrading copper lines. Now, per the order, carriers are not only released from maintaining this critical part of the communications infrastructure, but they're also no longer required to basically sell this stuff to consumers. So what happened is the order provided basically a 3-year window, which is coming up on August 2nd, 2022, allowing end user customers to look for alternative solutions to what we know as the regular POTS lines, or plain old telephone switch, those analog lines that plug into fax cards in the back of MFP devices out there.
So this is the technology, old school, plug it into the wall. That wall outlet is going away as we know it, right? That phone that my mom and dad and your parents probably still have if they're around, the landline that they can't let go, right? That's going away in the form that we know it. So opportunity is knocking for PaperCut customers, for OpenText customers, and for my viewers of this video, the resellers, the dealers, office equipment technology resellers. A lot of opportunity coming forward in the next several years as they start discontinuing those fax lines, those phone lines, really. So what do they do? Where do they go from here? I mean, this isn't the first time FCC has been mandating these things. It's created opportunities in the past. What is the opportunity as you guys see it? With all of the millions of fax lines, analog lines.
Yeah, so the reality is that even though they have that mandate that's out there, now what's happening is that the big telco providers, they can sort of forcibly encourage, that's the nice way that they put it in writing, forcibly encourage the market to move forward without any fear of repercussion. And the way that they're doing that, companies like AT&T, they're like charging $100 a month for this analog phone line. So there's that cost pressure to make folks move to digital. And but the reality is that there's like 39 million analog lines still out there in the market. So that poses a huge opportunity for our MFP partners. And with our partnership with PaperCut, we've basically got the solution between our two companies to be able to enable every single one of those MFP devices that are out there, regardless pretty much of brand, to be able to remove a fax card today and be enabled with a cloud service or an off-cloud fax server solution.
So this isn't something they're going to flip a switch on. This is going to be several years, a couple of years that they're going to be rolling this out. Phil, what do you think this means for large telco companies, and where do you think it's going with that?
Yeah, so what's happening is, because now they don't have legal repercussion to be able to send out, like Verizon is sending out 60-day notices, and that is by FCC regulation. They can send a 60-day notice to say, look, we're encouraging everybody to move to this technology. You're required by this order. And that poses an opportunity for our MFP partners to act as the telco company. So rather than moving with some type of solution that may not be as robust, secure from a fax perspective with, a telco provider, they can actually move to someone that is an industry leader in fax technology and move to one of our solutions, and it'll be just like they're sending a fax today, except it's going to have better workflows enabled on the MFP devices.
And Matt, you guys have you have a fax module as part of the PaperCut print management solution, right? So how does that fit into this? And talk to me about how you see leveraging some of the stuff Phil just mentioned.
It's worth mentioning that how good is it to have a partner that is so knowledgeable in the space, right?
Yeah.
Good on you, Phil. That's why we love working with you, mate. So we have there's two parts to the solution. So there's the piece that has the MFD to the PaperCut application server or the PaperCut application, and then there's the integration that goes from the PaperCut application through to the OpenText suite of products. So there's two parts of that, and what that allows us to do is like a platform play, right? Then we can have a large or broad range of the MFDs that has this consistent user interface. So it doesn't matter what MFP brand or MFD brand I've got. If I walk up and I authenticate, I'm going to have that same look and feel. And then all the magic happens behind the scenes when the content gets back to the MF application, and then that sends it through to the fax server.
Very cool. Now, I mean, you're two separate companies here. So how does that work? Who supports it? How does the MFP partner, how do they engage you? Will, why don't you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, we've got a dedicated team, and we work very closely with the PaperCut friends that we have. And so, I'm going to go back a couple of years. When this started out for us, Phil and I were basically the two people that were supporting the MFP channel. And in a couple of years now, we've grown to 12 dedicated people. So we're doing well in this space, and we have expertise in this space. Now, part of that doing well is that we know who to talk to on the PaperCut side. And so, for example, when I'm doing a demo, I will talk to folks and say, hey, understand what this means with this integration. If you have authenticated users, it's going to be a better workflow experience for everyone involved. Again, with that flow through to the audit log. Well, one more layer I want to kind of peel back here and kind of back up and pull some things together. Those old analog lines, I refer to those as, you're being trapped with wires in the wall. It's point to point. With the new technology, you really can start to talk about workflow. And in that workflow experiencing, knowing who that person is matters. Knowing how that flows through the audit log for compliance matters. A lot of folks will ask us, hey, can I send a fax through email? And you can, but they think they're sending a secure fax. When in reality, what they're doing is just sending an email to a fax service provider. So I'm going to go back to something that Matt said. The integration that they have is a secure connection. So it is fully encrypted, sending it to us or our suite of products. And if you're using one of our standalone apps, that's fully encrypted as well. So it is a secure experience. So back to wires in the wall. We are capture and route. We're going to capture an image from the machine. We're going to send that securely to our cloud application with XM Fax or on-premise, Write Fax, whichever one it is. And then we're going to dial the digits and deliver the document to the destination in a secure fashion. That's really important to understand how those images are getting to the cloud service or to the on-premise service provider. And we do that in a secure fashion. So that's important. Now, that conversation I just had maybe is a little complex. Sorry if I got a little wonky there. But all of us are prepared and can help guide the sales reps through that conversation. So what do? Call us. We'll help you. And we'll help guide you through that, even if it involves PaperCut. That's what we do.
And Matt, on your side of it, how do customers engage you? You know, what's the process like? I mean, I know the process. I'm just letting you say it. So, yeah, how do they engage with your team, with your people to get the OpenText, you know, modules that they need for the fax part of the, you know, the solution?
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that we've got so many customers out there that already have both of our solutions, but they're actually not connected. So there's an opportunity for this, I keep saying interoperability, right? But there's an opportunity to streamline, and make this actually a more consistent and secure single solution. So as you're probably aware, we have a distribution method. So I would say that any sales rep or employee from an OEM would contact their distributor. So the distributor might be one of our solution centers. It might be the OEM themselves, but usually it's your normal path for PaperCut. That's the starting point, and they have relationships with the OpenText team, and we normally go from there.
It's almost like bat phones. They have bat phones to us.
So you can
find us real time.
So maybe some cross marketing. Maybe you guys are able to bring each other into some deals at some point. Although it does sound like a lot of your customers are probably already working with both of you. This was an absolute pleasure. I learned quite a bit here, and I had no idea how integrated you guys were as two companies. Excited to see it going forward, and I know we'll see you guys down at the Kyocera meeting coming up. And so I'll be looking for teams from both of your companies. Any last words? I'll start with, we'll go around the clock. We'll go Phil, Will, and Matt. Any last sign-offs? Any last words? Phil.
Well, I just want to let, you know, all of the folks that are watching this, I mean, you know, we want our partners and our end users, you know, to buy the way they want to buy, sell the way they want to sell. And, you know, this is just one example of how, you know, if it makes good business sense and meets customers' requirements, we're going to partner with the best that's out there. And, you know, so please, you know, utilize both of our companies. We've got a lot of expertise on staff, and we want to just basically help you win deals.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Will, you're next.
It's hard to follow Phil.
It is hard to follow Phil. It is.
I'm glad he did. So I'm gonna pass it straight over to Matt.
Well, I don't know whether you know this, but I was an up and down the street copier guy once upon a time. And really what you're after is conversations with your customers, conversations about streamlining, about security, around consistency. So this integration is yet just another conversation piece that you can have with your customers to add value. So we're really excited about this solution. We can't wait to see what the future brings. And yeah, if you have any questions, of course, you know who to reach out to.
Well, thank you for that. And I too am an old copier guy. And all I could think of while you guys were describing this is, if I was every company I go into, I would be peeking around the back of that machine to see if it's plugged into the wall. That's all you have to do. If you see that plug and you're watching this video, you know who to call, right? Pretty easy.
That's right.
It's going away. They're using it now. They're not going to be able to use it within the next couple of years, most likely. They need something safer and more secure anyway. So you guys are a perfect solution. Thank you all so much for coming on the show today. Appreciate the time. Have fun in your have a good afternoon today, Matt and Phil and Will. It's cocktail hour for us. So great talking to you all. I hope you have a great evening, and we'll all catch up soon. We'll see you guys in San Antonio.
See you then.
Bye, guys.